position because, as you know, when you attack one of these guys, they pop up somewhere else. And what I've been saying all along is if you go up the food chain and you find out who's funding these guys, that takes you to the banks. And then you look at the banks and you say, well, how can we attack the banks? And that's what ended up with the Crash J.P. Morgan Buy Silver campaign, because we analyzed the situation. We said, who's funding these New World Order corporate no good nicks? We figured out it was the banks, and there is one bank that is particularly vulnerable, J.P. Morgan, its silver position, and that resonated with people around the world. As you know, hundreds of videos have been made. People have been buying silver, and there's very little of it around. There's only maybe $20 billion worth of silver available for purchase, which is a fantastically small amount. And as my interview on this week's show said, David Morgan, for every physical ounce you take off the market, you are killing 100 paper ounces on the balance sheet of the bank. So that's my thought in terms of how to cut the head of the snake. The head of the snake, instead of playing whack-a-mole and just saying they're doing this bad and this bad and this bad, they all come down funding from the banks. And the banks.
Well, sure, Max. I mean, I had you on the show to launch all that, but I mean, at the same time, it's good to go after big heads of the Hydra, but you've also got to wake up the general population to the wider paradigm, or you cut off one big head, a J.P. Morgan Chase. If you haven't cut the heart out, it's just going to regenerate another, slathering head that you've got to deal with.
But my thought on that is what we lack are wins. What I would call a win. What I would call, a touchdown.
Yeah, but what do you call a win? We blew that fake carbon credit tax thing out of the water and proved that their whole climate change thing is a fraud. You don't believe that because I think you've invested in it. Kind of like, and none of us are perfect, you kind of believed in Obama up front. I mean, maybe, Max, I respect you and think you're a smart guy. We all have different perspectives, but maybe some of us that don't totally agree with you, maybe we got a few brain cells too,
Well, the win that I would put in the column in the last 6 months would be the TSA scandal, because clearly through public pressure, that looks like a big win.
Yeah, another torpedo we launched here on this show.
Thing is another issue, but the TSA, I would say, is definitely a win. The Obama deception, brilliant film. You're right. I gave Obama the benefit of the doubt, and it turns out that the Obama deception film that you made was dead on accurate. The guy is a total puppet of the banking system. But I guess I misspoke by saying you don't have any wins. What I'm saying is that it would be nice to take down a $150 billion corporation, a major win. Let's put it that way, a big score, because these guys are scoring heavily against us. I'd love to see us really take down a $150 billion corporation. That would give everyone so much positive energy, and it would just get so much momentum behind that. Then we can then go after some of these other guys. But if we get that big win, Alex, I think it will just energize folks so much.
Sure, I totally agree. I mean, the TSA thing is a big win because it just showed us we can stand up and say no, and that we're the majority and we have common sense. That's just one battle. We haven't won that war. I think your silver thing's a great idea, and it's got titanic legs, and it's really scaring the system. And I think overall a lot of positive things are starting to happen, Max. And, that's why I try to bring on the Ron Pauls and the Max Keisers and the Jesse Venturas and countless others. And because I see so much understanding, so many different perspectives that together are moving in the right direction. It doesn't mean we're all on the exact same page, but we're certainly not part of this cold-blooded, corporate, globalist, dehumanizing Borg. We're definitely moving away from that together and then having a spirited debate on the way. And by the way, the top link on Infowars.com just went up there is Max's brand new TV show, Keiser Report, Monsanto and the Seeds of Evil. And what is that, like a 30-minute report, Max?
26 brilliant minutes of exciting television.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to belittle anyone's efforts here. I'm just saying that when I see birds falling out of the sky and thousands of fish washing up on the shore and the bee population going extinct, I'm just thinking the timeline is getting awfully close. I mean, how close do we want to cut this? Because it looks like we're down to the last
they are I'm telling you, Max, I've done the research. They are trying to cause an environmental collapse to then offer a great green tyranny on top of it, and then they believe they can remake anything in their image through the genetic engineering. I had an IBM person tell me once that there is no such thing as a genetic malfunction because humans came from the earth, and so we can do whatever we want, and then it's part of a natural mutation because we did it. I mean, we are in crisis. Everybody can feel it in their gut, see it intellectually. I'm going to come back and play a key video, The Madness of a Lost Society, Part 2. Very powerful. Max, we really appreciate you joining us. God bless you. Let me say bye to you during the break. Key new video coming up. Stay with us up on Infowars.com.
If you own a septic system or if you're facing costly septic system replacement, this message is for you. When you want to stop paying for pump outs and avoid backups, when you've had enough of the foul odors and costly repairs, use BioSafe One Septic Solution. Now there's an easy-to-use 100% guaranteed answer to all your septic system problems. BioSafe One Septic Solution. BioSafe One is patented and made specifically for all septic systems and made by the same team of scientists who helped clean up the Exxon Valdez oil spill. BioSafe One decontaminates and removes sludge, stops costly pump outs and repairs, and removes septic system stench, all with a 100% success rate. See what gives BioSafe One Septic Solution the advantage over any other septic product at biosafeone.com. That's BIOSAFEONE.com. biosafeone.com. Or call toll free 1-866-424-6663. That's 1-866-424-6663. BioSafe One, the guaranteed bio-friendly, money-saving way to clean your septic system.
A very wealthy U.S. citizen is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
The food storage industry leader has done it again.
Introducing FDG clubs and survival bucks from the Freeze Dry Guy. For over 39 years, the Freeze Dry Guy has served various government agencies and the private sector with the finest in storable foods and emergency rations. If you've wanted to build emergency food supplies but couldn't afford it,
now you can.
Go to freezedryguy.com, click on products, and look for the Freeze Dry Guy clubs to pay as you go.
Now you can build food storage without going into debt.
Choose from a payment range of $95 to $450 per month.
Our clubs work with everyone's budget.
Plus, when you join Freeze Dry Guy clubs, you'll get additional rewards. For example, this month, get 10% back in survival bucks on all purchases in the Freeze Dry Guy product line, plus free shipping within the lower 48 states on any order amount. Hurry, go to freezedryguy.com or call 866-404-3663. That's freezedryguy.com or call 866-404-3663. The Freeze Dry Guy, the best you can buy.
We warned you that something was wrong.
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
That investigations were needed.
Amazing, incredible, pick your word, for the third time today.
That our liberties were under attack. That the very fabric of our republic was being ripped apart.
Report suspicious activity.
And as a nation, we turned our back on our values, our principles, and our moral obligations. We allowed torture, we encouraged war, and we slept well as our nation was raped.
Will you tell the American people to whom you lent $2.2 trillion of their dollars?
Hundreds and hundreds of banks, any bank or that has access to the U.S. Federal Reserve's discount.
Tell us who they are.
No.
Now, the day of reckoning is nearly upon us, and still, we warn you.
We're heading for a hyperinflationary depression.
This is the madness of a lost society. Final warnings.
What we're
we're heading for hyperinflation. The hard choices should have been made years ago.
The Federal Reserve is borrowing $100 billion every 30 days.
You could cut every penny of government spending except for Social Security and Medicare, and you'd still be in deficit.
The end game is everybody has zero purchasing power currency.
Does this scare you? It ought to scare the pants off of you.
The U.S. will be defaulting on its debt in the next 5 years because the numbers are so staggering.
The world is going to go into a hyperinflationary depression everywhere.
We have to have the deficit under control now if we want to avoid a hyperinflation. It's not going to happen.
And there will be a global run to hard assets, and it has already begun.
I'm not saying this to scare you. Quite to the contrary.
The government doesn't have the ability to raise taxes to pay for its needs, so what it does is it prints money. It gives you inflation, eventually a hyperinflation. The U.S. dollar becomes worthless.
I want you to prepare and spare yourself heartache and save your dinner table. That's the only reason I'm telling you these things, not to keep you awake at night.
My contention now is that we're beyond control, we're beyond containment.
The world has never seen what they're going to see.
People ask me this, well, when is it all going to start? The question I ask you in return is, what's it going to take for you to notice it's happening?
There's nothing they can do to prevent a hyperinflation here and an ultimate economic collapse. They know it.
The elite want America to collapse. I have been told this.
They're just buying time. They're trying to push the bad news off as far as they can into the future.
Would you like to know exactly what's going to happen so that you can spare your assets?
Because the fact of the matter is, it's already unraveling.
The deficit of $4 to $5 trillion. Let's say the government wanted to resolve the issue with taxes. It could raise personal income taxes to take 100% of individual income. It could take 100% of corporate profits, and you'd still be in deficit.
If you look at the price of silver, for example, the low in silver was around $7 an ounce during the 2008 crisis. Silver recently touched $30. There is no explanation for the move in silver outside of a global move away from the dollar. And that is absolutely happening. It's happening right now.
As interest rates rise, the interest expense goes up, causing a bigger deficit, causing the government to borrow more, causing the Federal Reserve to do additional quantitative easing, further debasing the dollar and ultimately meaning higher gold and silver prices.
The dollar is going to have a severe sell-off at some point here, a panic sell-off, and along with that, you're going to see a sharp spike in precious metals as they tend to preserve the purchasing power of the dollars that go into them.
The how-to stuff is actually pretty simple. You want to own energy, agriculture, and sound money.
He said, get out of anything that is paper. Now, do you realize what that means?
Unfortunately, my experience has been people won't take simple steps to protect themselves because they can't imagine the future changing as much as it's going to.
You've got to make preparations right now.
This quantitative easing, the official debasement of the U.S. dollar, is beginning to have its effect.
If you look at the amount of money that's been created over the last 5 years, to accomplish a 10% gold-backed currency, the price of gold would have to be around $10,000 an ounce.
There's nothing they can do that's going to turn this economy around. Shy of shutting down the entitlement system, there's nothing they're going to do to prevent the hyperinflation.
The madness of a lost society, the rest of it is at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com.
America's #1 source for independent talk radio for over a decade. We are the GCN Radio Network.
They helped to create a new world order.
We are part of a new world order.
A new world order based upon collective action.
Invisible Empire is a damning indictment of the globalists through their own words and documents.
The new world order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities.
It means all the world under their control.
The United Nations would take over America. The Trilateral Commission would control the world.
Invisible Empire chronicles how men of power and influence have worked in stealth for centuries to establish an oppressive world government.
I believe, first of all, that we now need nothing